राधा कुंद गिरी गोवर्धन की, श्री वृंदावन धाम की, नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की, जगन्नाथपुरी की, गंगा मई की, यमुना मई की, भक्ति देवी की, तुलसी देवी की, Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki, taking over the world with Srila Prabhupada's transcendental book distribution ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale. Srimate Bhakti Vikasa Swaminati Namane. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from, actually, welcome to the first day of the monk retreat. I guess today is the first day. Thank you all for showing up. We're very happy that you made it for the, for the duration that you have already. So we're reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text number 10. Vitam Ragham, Ragam Bhayam Krodhaham Mat Maya Mam Upashritaham Bahavaha Jnanam Tapasa Putaha Mat Bhavam Agataha Vitaraga Bhayakroda Manmaya Mamupashitaha Bahavo Jnana Tapasa Putamad Bhavamagataha Vitaraga Bhayakrodha Manmaya Mamupashitaha Bahavo Jnana Tapasa Putamad Bhavamagataha Vitaraga Bhayakrodha Manmaya Mamupashitaha Bahavo Jnana Tapasa Putamad Bhavamagataha. Please repeat. Vitaraga Bhayakrodha Bahavo Jnana Tapasa Putamad Bhavamagataha Vitaraga Bhayakrodha Manmaya Mamupashitaha Jnana Tapasa Putamad Bhavamagataha Vitaraga Bhayakrodha Manmaya Mamupashitaha Bahavo Jnana Tapasa Putamad Bhavamagataha Vitaraga Bhayakrodha Maya Mamupashitaha Jnana Tapasa Putamad Bhavamagataha. Anyone else want to try? Vitaraga Bhayakrodha Upashritaha Manmayamam Upashritaha Bahavo Jnana Tapasa Putamad Bhavamagataha Vitaraga Bhayakrodha Manmaya Mamupashitaha Bahavo Jnana Tapasa Putamad Bhavamagataha Vitaraga Bhayakrodha Manmaya mam upashitaha Bahavo gnana tapasam Utamad bhavamagataha Vitam, freed from Ragam, attachment Bhayam, fear Krodhaha, and anger Matmayam, fully in me Mam, in me Upashritaha, being fully situated Bahavaha, many Jnanam, of knowledge Tapasam, the penance so by the penance Bhutaha, being purified Madbhavam, transcendental love for me Agataha, attained. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Being freed from attachment, fear and anger, being fully absorbed in me, and taking refuge in me, many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me, and thus they all attained transcendental love for me. As described above, it is very difficult for a person who is too materially affected to understand the personal nature of the Supreme Absolute Truth. Generally, people who are attached to the bodily conception of life are so absorbed in materialism that it is almost impossible for them to understand how the Supreme can be a person. Such materialists cannot even imagine that there is a transcendental body which is imperishable, full of knowledge, and eternally blissful. In the materialistic concept, the body is perishable, full of ignorance, and completely miserable. Therefore, people in general keep the same bodily idea in mind when they are informed of the personal form of the Lord. For such materialistic men, the form of the gigantic material manifestation is supreme. Consequently, they consider the Supreme to be impersonal, and because they are too materially absorbed, the conception of retaining the personality after liberation from matter frightens them. When they are informed that spiritual life is also individual and personal, they become afraid of becoming persons again. And so they naturally prefer a kind of merging into the impersonal void. Generally, they compare the living entities to bubbles of the ocean, which merge into the ocean. That is the highest perfection of spiritual existence, attainable without individual personality. This is a kind of fearful stage of life devoid of perfect knowledge of spiritual existence. Furthermore, there are many persons who cannot understand spiritual existence at all. Being embarrassed by so many theories and by contradictions of various types of philosophical speculation, they become disgusted or angry and foolishly conclude that there is no supreme cause and that everything is ultimately void. Such people are in a diseased condition of life. Some people are too materially attached and therefore do not give attention to spiritual life. Some of them want to merge into the supreme spiritual cause, and some of them disbelieve in everything, being angry at all sorts of spiritual speculations out of hopelessness. This last class of men take shelter in some kind of intoxication, and their affective hallucinations are sometimes accepted as spiritual vision. One has to get rid of all three stages of attachment to the material world, which is negligence of spiritual life, fear of personal identity, fear of a spiritual personal identity, and the conception of void that arises from frustration in life. To get free from these three stages of the material concept of life, one has to take complete shelter of the Lord, guided by the bona fide spiritual master, and follow the disciplines and regulative principles of devotional service. Of devotional life, The last stage of devotional life is called bhava, or transcendental love of Godhead. According to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.4 to 15 to 16, the science of devotional service is quoted as follows: Adav shraddha tata sadhu sangota bhajana kriya tato narta nivriti syat tato nishta ruchis tata ata shaktis tato bhavas tata prema bhayan bhyundanchati sadhakanam ayam premna pradurbhave bhavet kramaha. In the beginning, one must have preliminary desire for self-realization. This will bring one to the stage of trying to associate with persons who are spiritually elevated. In the next stage, one becomes initiated by an elevated spiritual master, and under his instruction, the neophyte devotee begins the process of devotional service. By execution of devotional service under the guidance of the spiritual master, one becomes free from all material attachment, attains steadiness and self-realization, and acquires a taste for hearing about the absolute personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. This stage leads one further to attachment for Krishna consciousness, which is matured in bhava, or the preliminary stage of transcendental love of God. Real love of God is called prema, the highest perfectional stage of life. In the prema stage, there is a constant engagement in devotional service of the Lord. So, by the slow process of devotional service, under the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master, one can attain the highest stage, being freed from material attachment, from fearfulness of one's individual spiritual personality, and from the frustrations that result in void philosophy. Then, one can ultimately attain to the abode of the Supreme Lord. Om Agyana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadam Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utavpadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagarjatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Suchivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamsha He Krishna Karana Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sate Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikasa Swaminiti Namane Harijanagana Badi Gnana Karmandahari Prakatita Para Bhaktir Bhakti Siddhanta Kantihi Vinaya Nikara Lakshmir Nimna Medera Gamyo Bhuvi Jayati Vikaso Bhakti Purvo Yatindraha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashati Deshatarine Vagisha Yasya Vadane Lakshmir Yasya Chivakshase Yasyaste Hridaye Samvittam Nrisimham Aham Bhaje Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukham Karti Vachalam Pangum Langaite Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Yasya Devi Para Bhaktir Yata Devi Tata Gurau Tasyate Katita Hyartha Prakashante Mahatmanaham. So, translation again. Vitaraga Bhaya Krodha Mama Maya Upashataha Bhavo Gnana Tapasa Puta Mad Bhavamagataha. Being free from attachment, fear and anger, being fully absorbed in me and taking refuge in me, many persons in the past become purified by knowledge of me, and thus they all attain transcendental love for me. So, I really like this purport of Srila Prabhupada. There's a very monumental purport where Srila Prabhupada breaks down our entire conditioning that we have in this material world. In this material world, people are either too attached, too afraid, or too angry. And because of these three things, they are unable to taste the real bliss of spiritual life. So many people go after so many different things looking for happiness. They may go here, they may go there. They may think that, if I were to somehow or the other gratify my senses, if I were to somehow or the other please my senses, I will actually attain a lot of happiness. That people think, wow, it's just sense gratification is the goal of life. That if my sense of sight is satisfied, if my sense of hearing is satisfied, my sense of smelling is satisfied, and my sense of tasting is satisfied, and my belly and my genitals are satisfied, then that I am very happy. But we can see this, that people who have full-on facility to gratify their senses, being too attached to the sense gratification, are also not happy. Why? And you can see this in so many ways. So many different people, they may come, and they may have all the facilities in this material world to enjoy. They may enjoy so much. But eventually what ends up happening is they become mad. Bhogaishvarya prasaktanam taya pahrita chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhir samadho na vidiyate A person who's too absorbed in bhoga, enjoyment, and aishwarya, opulence, they won't be able to fix their mind on one particular thing. And because they're too absorbed in gratifying their senses, eventually they lose their resolute determination. They lose that. And we can see so many people, they may think, if I get a lot of wealth, what is the goal of getting a lot of wealth? Bottom line is so we can be the controllers. So we can somehow the other control. Let's try to control everything. Okay, how much can we control? Okay, very nice. You may be a very wealthy person, and you can control all the employees in your company. But can you control people who are not your employees? No. You may be a very wealthy person. You may be able to create all kinds of amazing technologies and, be like a groundbreaking person. But if your son dies, can you bring him back to life? We can see this Elon Musk, his son died. What can he do about it? Nothing. What happened to his position of being a controller or of being an Ishvara? What happened? Nothing. Nothing could be done. And then, we may think, oh, we are so beautiful. We have so many amazing qualities. Oh, I'm such a beautiful person. But even if you're beautiful, which is also relative, even if you're beautiful, the question is for how long? For how long? Recently it came out in the news that a famous model in Atlanta, she turned 30 years old and she saw a small wrinkle appear on her face and she killed herself. Yeah, sad but true. She killed herself. Why? Because beauty is temporary. Beauty is temporary. What beauty is there? Even if it's there. There's so many people are attached. Bottom line, what are we attached the most to? Are we attached to our possessions or are we attached to our body? Our body, obviously. Someone comes and points a gun at you and say, give me all your life savings or I'm going to shoot you. Then people are, okay, all right, here's my life savings. Don't shoot me. Why? Because the biggest attachment we have is to this body. But if we were to examine our body and see, is it really so amazing? Is it really so amazing? Men may think, oh wow, we're so strong, we're so strong and we're so good looking and we can do so many amazing things, we can do this, we can do that, they may think like that. But if we really examine the body, what is a body made of? It's simply a bag of flesh with some bones in it and some blood, and it's floating in stool, pus, mucus, and all these horrible things. And then, as men, we may have like some facial hair and we may think, oh, yeah, we are like amazing, I used to have a big beard myself. I used to think, yeah, I'm like the freaking dude out here. But honestly, realistically speaking, when material nature crushes you, then reality hits. Where is your manliness when material nature is crushing you? Doesn't exist. Same thing. Body of a woman also. Same thing. Same thing. Just a few differences here and there. But ultimately, that's also made of mucus, pus, bile, all these horrible things, stool, urine, all these things. Actually, the body is there. And we still think, oh, this body is so nice. Why? Because of the thin layer of skin which is on our body. We think, oh, wow, this body is so nice. But even if there's a slight cut on our skin, we will see what's inside, and it's not so desirable, is it? It's not so desirable. Even a small thing. Then what to speak of if we meet with an accident and like a whole side of our body is scraped. I remember I was very young actually. I was probably like 5 years old or something. And then I was just playing with like this toy gun that my mom had bought me, and I shot this toy gun, and the bullet went and fell on the street. Being a stupid kid that I was, I immediately ran to get it. And while I ran to get it, there was this very fast, it's a very fast vehicle. It was luckily a two-wheeler. It came and it hit me, and I just flew so far away. And I remember scraping so many different sides of my body. And of course, my parents almost had a heart attack. And, of course, after I went to the hospital and all the stuff was happening, I remember looking at myself in the mirror, and I remember like there was like whole sections of my body where I could see the flesh. And that's engraved, that vision is engraved in my mind to think like, I still think about that sometimes. Like, this is just, it's just a thin covering actually, It's a thin covering. What are we identifying ourselves with, really? What are we identifying ourselves with? There's nothing much to actually, this body which we're holding on to so dearly, 3 things are going to happen to it. One of the 3 things at least. One thing is it'll turn into stool. How will it turn into stool? Like, in some traditions, on the mountain, the body is kept, and then like the vultures and crows and all of them, they come and they eat the jackals, they come and eat it, and then they pass your body out as stool. Then in other traditions, your body is burnt, so your body may become ashes. And then in some other traditions, the body is buried. Then what happens when the body is buried? Then worms come and eat up your body. Then basically the body turns into worms. So if we actually examine and see what are we really attached to, we will see that we are simply attached to something which is either going to turn into ashes, something which is either going to turn into stool, or something which is either going to turn into worms. Pick your favorite. What do you like the most? The worms? Okay, anyway. Different shlokas for different folks, but it is not so desirable actually. It's not so desirable. So an intelligent person will understand that, okay, all right, fantastic, thank God. Good news, the really good news is we are not this body. You think about it, right from the time of birth. We are all, we were born like, let's just say the average height of people in this room is like, whatever, 5'10" or 5'11" or whatever, average height. Average, Jacob, don't get angry, okay? The average height, 5'10", 5'11", however tall people may be. But, we can examine and see when we came out of our mother's womb, was our body 5'10" or 5'11" inches tall? No. Our body was not. Any baby pops out of the womb, like imagine Shaquille O'Neal, like he pops out of his mother's womb at like 7'11" or something. No, he was a small baby and his body changed, And we can think like that also even for us. Our body changes. We weren't born like this. We weren't born like this. Actually, there's an amazing verse in the Bhagavad Gita. You can pull it up. I think it's 2:16. Nasato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate sata, ubhayor api dishtontas, tva anayo sattvadarshibhi. That for those who are seers of the truth, they see that the body, in regards to the body, there is no such thing as birth. And for the soul, there is no such thing as death. Right? Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that for the non-existence, there is the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both. If we were to examine ourselves, and if we were to examine and see our bodies, we will see that the body that we have is actually constantly dying. So many people come and say, oh, today is my birthday, I turned 17 or 28 or 30 or 46 or whatever. They say, wow, it's my birthday and you should be very happy. But the truth is it's your death day. Why? Because your body has died 47 years. Your body has died 26 years. Your body has died 17 years. The body dies. It undergoes 6 things. First it takes birth, it grows up, it maintains itself, it creates byproducts, it deteriorates and ultimately vanishes. Right? There's 6 stages of a body. Right? Everyone's been through at least, not all stages. We're getting there eventually. But at least we've gone through the stage of taking birth. This body has taken birth. We've gone to the stage of this body growing. We've gone to the stage of this body maintaining itself. Then the body will make some byproducts. Then the body will deteriorate. And then the body will completely vanish. And what will it become? Stool, ashes, or worms. So these things are going on with our body. It's going on every day. It's going on all the time. But we are so foolish to think that, oh, this is not actually happening. This is actually not happening to us. It's not happening. Why? Why is it not happening? Because we are too afraid of seeing the reality as it is. Too afraid. Being afraid, we're too attached. We're too attached to this material body. We're too attached to the possessions of this body. And there's one thing which we are more attached to than our body. You know what that is? Yes, actually, that's right. The false ego. It's like the mind and then the false ego, right? You can pull this up, 342. Indriyani paranyahur indriyebhyah paramanaha manasastu parabhuddheryo buddhe paratastu saha. You can see this over here. Okay. The working senses are superior to dull matter, and the mind is higher than the senses, and intelligence is still higher than the mind, and he, the soul, is even higher than the intelligence. So we can see, yes, our body is there, but more than our body, we're attached to our mental concepts that we have. And more than the mental concepts, we're attached to our big fat ego. We are so attached to this big fat ego, and we are so attached that we don't even understand how much an illusion we are. We are so much an illusion. And then because of us being an illusion, we are captured by fear. What is the definition of fear? You can pull up this verse. It's Bhagavatam, Canto 11. I forget the verse number. Please forgive me. Bhayam Dvitiya. 11:2-37. Please pull that up. Bhayam dvitiya abhiniveshitasya ishadapetasya viparyayo smritihi tanmaya yato buddha abhajetam bhaktyeka yesham gurudevatatma. that the translation, fear arises when a living entity misidentifies himself as a material body, and because of absorption in external illusory energy of the Lord. When the living entity thus turns away from the Supreme Lord, he also forgets his own constitutional position as servant of the Lord. This bewildering, fearful condition is affected by the potency for illusion called Maya. Therefore, an intelligent person should engage unflinchingly in the unalloyed devotional service of the Lord under the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master, whom he should accept as his worshipable deity and his very life and soul. So, this is a definition of fear. We are afraid. Why? Because we're identifying with matter. We're identifying with the body. We're identifying with so many things. And because we identify with so many things in this material world, and this material world, everything in this material world by nature is temporary. Whatever you have, you may have. Anything you may have. What do you have? What are we the most attached to? Different people have different attachments. I guess I was really attached to my bass guitar and my amp and all these things. Where are they now? They're all gone. Some people may be attached to their vehicles. Some people may be attached to their cars. Where is your car? It's gone now. Some people may be attached to their elderly parents. Unfortunately, there'll come a time where they'll also go. Some people may be attached to their wife. Where is your wife now? If she may be there for some time, then after some time that also may go. Some people may just be attached to so many things. Some people may be attached to their position. I have such a good position. One day you may be a king and the next day you may be a pauper. What happened to your position? So many people. So many. From rags to the riches and from riches to the rags also. That also happens. Actually, that happens a lot, but that's not advertised so much. But we see, these positions are temporary. Everything in this material world is temporary. But if we hold on to something that is temporary, we will suffer in this material world. You want to hold on to something temporary. Like you could go and grab, you could with both your hands, you could grab some temporary object which will give happiness, but it will simply slip through our fingers like quicksand. If you go to grab sand, what's going to happen? It's going to slip through your fingers. Same thing with this material world. We simply go full force, full speed ahead. We want to go and grab, this happiness that comes out of temporary material objects. But because the material objects are temporary by nature, because they are temporary, then the happiness that we derive from them is also temporary. That makes sense, right? That if you want eternal happiness, will you find it in temporary things? No. So similarly, that we want to have a permanent situation in a temporary world. Contemplate that, please. We want to have a permanent situation in a temporary world. We're not bad people. We just want to just enjoy. Have a good time. We don't want to harm anyone. Other than all the meat that we eat. With the exception of that, we don't want to harm anyone. We don't want to harm anything. We just are nice people, and we just are. Going about our day and going about our life, and everything will be fine and everything will go fine and everything will go okay. But it doesn't go okay. Why? Because your body is changing constantly. Then the situation we're in, that's also changing constantly. The family is changing constantly. So many things. People buy such big houses. I'm sure Anjan can relate with this. If we see in America, we see so many big houses. So many big houses, but it's almost empty. But in India, if you see a house, it may be a big house, and it's almost like a festival going on inside. People constantly walking in, walking out, this, that going on. But you will see so many big houses, and there's probably like 1 or 2 people who are staying there. And it's really surprising, like such a big place. And why? Because at one point of time, they maybe had like 2-3 children, and they all may have grown up in that house. But then after time went on, they all left, and now it's just the mom and the dad, and then eventually it'll just be the mom, or it'll eventually just be the dad, and eventually it'll be no one. Until someone else comes and takes upon this cycle of repeated birth and death. Therefore, we should understand that if we try to find eternal happiness in a temporary place, we will suffer. We will be frustrated in this material world. And therefore, people come to a conclusion that, the main cause of all my problems and miseries is the fact that I'm a person. If I were not a person, then where is the question of actually feeling some kind of pain or misery? In this regard, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gives a very nice example. He gives a story where he says, actually, that there was once a boy, and he had this really, really horrible boil on his back. He had a very, very hot, big boil on his back, and it was causing him so much pain. It was causing him so much like anxiety and like difficulty, and like all his family members were also like very like they didn't know what to do. There and so much anxiety and stress, and like they would say like the ladies of the house would like fan the boil and blow on the boil to like give the boy some relief, but that was not really happening. That was not giving him the relief. Then the father's friend, the boy's father's friend, came up with this amazing idea. You see, there's a boil on his back and he's really suffering about it. And as of now, it seems like there's nothing we can do about it. So guess what solution he came up with? Kill him. Exactly. He said, you see, the guy is suffering so much from the boil on his back. So why don't we just kill the guy? So if you kill him, he won't feel the pain. What an amazing idea. And the father thought, this guy is insane. Let me go get a doctor. And then when the father went to get a doctor, the doctor saw, okay, here's a boil, and I have a solution. What we need to do is, what's it called, lacerate, or what's it called? That's what you do to a boil? Lance it. Okay, yeah, lance. So the best thing to do is to lance the boil. So he started taking out his equipment to lance, and the boy started freaking out. No, how dare you take all these these weapons at me to kill me? I will call the police. It's better I kill myself. What is this man doing? I will report you to the cops, and this, that, and the other thing. But not caring for the boy's protest, the father held him down, and the doctor did the operation on the boy, and the boil was removed, and finally his pain was relieved. So similarly, we see in this material world that, when we are suffering from this big boil of frustration that arises from not able to enjoy this material world, we come up with stupid philosophies where we think that let's merge into a void. Everything is one. We are all God. And these kind of stupid ideas. And we can actually we can examine and see how stupid this idea actually is. And Kalki Prabhu gave this example, and it's probably going to stick with me for the rest of my life. Now, if I were to tell you I am Elon Musk, will you believe me? Do I look like him? I've never driven a Tesla in my life. Do I look like Elon Musk? Do you think I'm Elon Musk? No. So that's crazy, right? So now, what if I were to tell you, you are all Elon Musk? How crazy is that? It's really crazy, right? And people think this dude is absolutely mad. But if you tell them, actually, I'm God and we are all God, everyone will be fine with it. How crazy is that? How insane is that? Why? Because by nature, people think that actually God is not a person. That the absolute truth is not a person. The absolute truth, people think that ultimately, because the root cause of all suffering in this material world is the fact that we are dealing with persons. Ultimately, if I want to be happy, there should be no person. There should be no personalism. Only impersonalism will give me happiness. But examine this important philosophical point. If everything is impersonal, then there is no question of enjoyment. Right? There is no question of enjoyment. Why is there no question of enjoyment? Why? Because variety is the mother of all enjoyment. You think of anything that we enjoy in this world, it is always full of variety, isn't it? If we were yesterday, did you guys like the prasadam we served out, the food we served out? Yes or yes? Okay, all right. So, there were all these amazing items that were laid out. There was a drink, and there was like 2 sweets. How many sweets were there? 3 sweets. Halwa, and I'm mixing up dinner and lunch. So there was this sweet, and there was like this drink, and there was like this, pretty a chutney which had a kick to it. The sauce that has a kick to it, the green one. There was sourdough bread, and there was rice, and different kinds of rice and different kinds of sabjis and all these things, veggies and all that. And everyone, of course, ate to their heart satisfaction, we hope, and everyone was appreciating it. But now, if we were to take all those items and mix it and mash it all up, will it be enjoyable? No. Any sane person will say, no, definitely not. I think the drink is good by itself, and so are the sweets, and so is the rice, and so is the sourdough bread. I guess you could add like a little butter to the sourdough bread. But the bottom line is that because there was variety, we were able to relish the prasadam. We were able to relish that the ecstatic transcendental foodstuffs. Similarly, in this material world, variety is the mother of all enjoyment also. But then if the ultimate goal of life is to be impersonal, where is the question of enjoyment? By nature, we want to have happiness. By nature, we are eternal. By nature, we want to have knowledge. If we just take out knowledge and happiness and we just exist, eventually we will get bored. And guess what? Because we don't have a taste for spiritual variety, we will fall back down into this material world and try to enjoy material variety. That is the nature for the conditioned soul. That's the nature of the spirit soul. We want to enjoy. We want to be happy. You go up to anyone, hey bro, you want to be miserable? Anyone here want to be miserable? Anyone want to sign up? We'll give you a pill. You take it and you'll be depressed like hell. Will anyone take it? No, people take antidepressants, but they don't take depressants. Is there anything called a depressant? There's something to make you depressed? Oh, okay. I'm learning. Okay, all right. It's classified as a depressant. Is that right? Okay. So alcohol, but I guess people like to be depressed also. But if we gave you a suffering pill, a pain pill, take this pill and you'll suffer like heck. Would anyone volunteer for it unless you're crazy? No. But people have antidepressants. They want to take antidepressants to remove their misery and put on a brave face that I am walking in this. I'm such a great guy, nothing in this material world faces me but depression, and therefore I take antidepressants and I'm happy. Or Prabhupada speaking about this here, people take shelter of intoxication. If they don't take antidepressants, I'm going to smoke a bunch of weed and I'm going to feel like I'm really, I got this, I have this understanding of how this world works. So people may take shelter of alcohol, people may take shelter of LSD or whatever. What are the new drugs out there? Been out of the scene for a while now. It's the same old drugs, I guess. Okay, all right, good. I guess they didn't create new ways to mess your life up even more. But people may think, I'll take this drug, or I'll take that drug, or I'll take this pill, or I'll take that pill, and I'm such a brave guy, and I can face the world. But we're simply a coward, completely surrounded by fear. Go up to anyone who's taking intoxication, who's smoking weed. People used to say, weed is, I remember, whatever. I remember I have being witness to a conversation where someone was asking someone hey, you smoke, you smoke weed. They say, and weed is addicting. I can give it up anytime I want. Oh, really? Why don't you give it up right now? Oh, no, because I just don't want to. That's why. But the truth is, we're completely, our senses are entangled to it. Whatever it may be. We're such a brave guy. Why don't you live your life without intoxication? Why don't we live our life without pills? Let's see. Let's see how brave we are. Let's see if our world won't shatter in front of us. Let's see. If you're really such a brave and smart and intelligent person who's so amazing, let's see. Let's see. Take upon the Hare Krishna challenge. Let's see. Try to live your life without all these intoxications and all these things. And chant Hare Krishna. Take the prasadam, take the food that we're offering, and read these books and see what a difference it makes in your life. Challenge every sentence of this book and you will be demolished. Try it and test it. Happened to so many people. Try it out. You will see for yourself. It's an open challenge. You will see. So people finally, they think that, oh wow, this is so amazing, that finally everything is impersonal and I finally emerge. But eventually we'll come back down to enjoying this material world. Then some people come up with the philosophy, anyway, what's the use? Let's just enjoy this material world. What's the difficulty? It's there's a little bit of sorrow and there's a little bit of happiness and, life just goes on, la, 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 But the right understanding is this, that, let's just say you have ice cream. Everyone likes ice cream? Everyone likes ice cream? Chandan, you made a note of that, they like ice cream. So everyone likes ice cream, So let's just say, what's your favorite flavor of ice cream? Strawberry or whatever it may be, If there's a nice cup of strawberry ice cream in front of you, and then your friend takes a spoon of sand and mixes the ice cream up, will you be able to relish the ice cream? Ice cream with a little sand? What's the matter? At least the ice cream is there. Just a little sand. That's just how ice cream is, I guess. But no, ice cream in its pure form is without sand. Believe it or not. So similarly, people have this conception that, that's just how the world is. You just need a little bit of sorrow with your happiness to enjoy. Otherwise, if there's no misery, how will we feel happiness? How will we feel happiness if there's no pain? So then let's just say it's a nice, beautiful day. It looks like it's a beautiful day outside, but if we go outside, it's really cold. Unless you're from Minnesota, I guess. But it's really cold outside. We can go. But anyway, let's just say it's a beautiful degree, 75 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a nice time, the sun is out, everyone is having a good time, or the moon is out and it's warm and nice and you're on the beach and you're having a good time. And then, your friend who's very close to you remembers your philosophy where you say that without pain you can't feel happiness. So you're walking by the beach with your friends and having a good time by the moon and enjoying. And then your friend, remembering your philosophy, takes a chair and smacks your head and you fall down on the floor. And then, when you wake up, your friend asks you, you ask your friend, why did you do that? He said, no, but this is your philosophy, right? In order for you to experience happiness, you need pain. You see? But it doesn't make logical sense. Therefore, real happiness is found in transcendental variety. Real happiness is found when we come in touch with Satchit Ananda Vigraha. That ultimately, if we want happiness, it comes from a personal relationship. Happiness comes from a personal relationship. It's awesome to have a pizza by yourself, but isn't it more fun to have it with your best friend? And if we don't have a best friend, we have dogs or pigeons or parrots or, we went to this temple and the guru was too fond of birds or something. It was really, really crazy. But anyway, you may have birds or cats or dogs or whatever the heck we may have, but it's always, it's to have someone to associate with. And then some people are so crazy, they say, I don't need anyone. And then what they do, they draw like a picture on the wall and they start to have a relationship with that picture on the wall. So instead of having relationship with the picture on the wall or with cats and dogs and even temporary relationships based on the temporary platform, whatever, the friendships made on this mundane platform. If we were to have transcendental relationship with Krishna in the center, by doing so, this will spiritualize our existence. If we keep Krishna in the center. And the relationships that we have around us are based on serving the beautiful lotus feet of Krishna. If we do that, then everything becomes blissful. If the center is Krishna, you can pull this up, Ali, 1:13. Ataf pumir dhujashre, 1:2:13, sorry. Ataf pumir dhujashreshta varnashrama vibhakashaha swaratishtasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam. O best among the twice born, it is therefore concluded that the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging the duties prescribed for one's own occupation according to caste divisions and orders of life is to please the personality of Godhead. We may be doing whatever we may be doing, but if Krishna is in the center, then this relationship becomes transcendental. The work becomes transcendental. And then we will actually experience happiness, which is not mixed with misery. We will be able to transcend this material world. We will be able to transcend our mind. We will be able to transcend our ego. We will be able to transcend our false ego. And check this out. And we will be established in our true ego. And what is our true ego? 15, I think. No, 15:12. Mamayvamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha manashashtani indriyani prakritin stani kashiti. 15:8, I think it's 15:8. Go back. No, oh man. There is it. What's the verse number? 8, right? 7, close. So, the living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts due to the conditional life that is struggling very hard with the 6 senses, which include the mind. So, instead of being tortured by our mind and our senses, if we were to engage the senses and the master of the senses, Krishna, then we will actually be happy. Rishikena rishikesham sevanam bhakti ruchyate. If we were to engage our senses in the service of the master of the senses, then we will be happy. And how does devotional service start? It starts with there's 2 verses. One says with the ear, one says with the tongue. But we can also say, Sevon mukhe hi jivado swayameva spuratida. Ata Shri Krishna namadi, Ata Shri Krishna namadi, na bhavet grahya mindriyaihi. That's how it starts, right? Ata Shri Krishna namadi, na bhavet grahya mindriyaihi. Sevon mukhe hi jivado swayameva spuratida. That the devotional service starts with the tongue. What do we do with the tongue? We speak and we eat. So if we were to eat prasadam, foodstuffs offered to Krishna, then our existence becomes spiritualized. If we were to use our tongue in chanting Krishna's holy names and talking about what we read in books about Krishna, then our life becomes spiritualized. So this is the request of the Krishna consciousness movement: chant and dance and be happy. And after you're chanting and dancing, when you get hungry, you eat a lot of prasadam. And then in the middle of it all, you hear the most amazing philosophy. It is such a good life. It's such a simple life. And it's the easiest life actually. Simply by chanting and dancing, we can attain perfection. Simply by eating Krishna prasadam, we can attain perfection. Simply by reading these books and applying them and hearing from them, we will attain perfection. It's a very simple process. Try it out. You won't be the loser. And even if it didn't work for you, you still had a good time. So in the class over here, if there's any questions or comments, we can take them here. Yes. From the Acharya himself. Hare Krishna. You didn't say thank you for the wonderful. Yeah. You want to turn the camera around?
Yeah, you can turn. So just a few things. I mean, like it's the Krishna conscious philosophy, like you're speaking of. It's like it presents us like it's quite a pessimistic view of the material world. That's one thing people who notice, like these people are so negative.
Yeah, we're so negative. Everything, this world ain't no good, this body ain't no good, ain't nothing, ain't no good. We saw that in the interview with Ted Patrick, yeah.
So that's like a thing that when, at least for me also coming into the Krishna consciousness movement, I remember one of the brahmacharis told me like, I was like big on, you have to get married eventually and have children and
we all were.
Because that's the culture that we, at least, I grew up in and I was pushed towards. And so like, that's dharma, that's what you have to do. I remember he'd tell me, he went in and I was like, whoa, this doesn't make any sense. He was like, no, you're young, you have to like practice spiritual life, you have to, don't think about that right now. And he says, actually, anyways, he gave me a brahmachari class. He blessed me, And I remember walking back home and thinking, this guy's crazy. Like, what is he talking about? But actually, I started to realize, like, in the material world, people are so, artificially positive.
Yeah.
You've seen
bad hope
affirmations.
Yeah.
Every day you put an affirmation on your wall. I am
you
beautiful.
are enough.
You are enough. Like, why do
the truth is you don't make enough to pay your bills. That's the truth.
If you're enough, why do you need to tell yourself that? Like what? Like you're happy. Okay, all right, sure. You write it on the wall. But it's all these things that there. People are trying to be positive, but actually the situation, and you see their life practically is like really negative.
Yeah.
But in like Krishna consciousness, what I saw, he said that, and it seemed like quite a pessimistic view, and people who generally talk like that are not in a good place.
Yeah.
Like who talk pessimistically. But like then you see the devotees, and it's like their whole lifestyle practically is like so blissful. Different. And so it's like, yes, we're speaking pessimistically about the material world because that's reality of it.
Yeah.
And until we're ready to like understand that reality, we put ourselves in a difficult situation. Yeah. Although temporarily it seems like a good situation.
Yeah. So
that's true. That's just the point. It's just like, and when I understood that, I realized, I'm suffering in the material.
Yeah.
Because Krishna shows you like, like beyond the desire for just sense gratification, when you're performing that and you have some level of touch with Krishna consciousness, you realize it's just like, this is actually not happiness. People are actually, like my friend, you were talking about intoxication, how intoxication is a depressant.
Yeah.
And I saw that in my friends when they would get drunk, and it was just like, whoa, these people...
They'd all start crying like,
not just crying, they look like they're having a good time, but they feel like having a good time, but I'm observing them, and it's like, that's not a good time, bro. They're
you're
suffering.
Becoming numb.
You have no control, you have nothing, and so it's just interesting how people are like illusioned in the material world.
Yeah.
That kind of like, I feel very like fortunate for like devotees to kind of show that to me when I was like a little younger.
Yeah.
And be able to realize that, So it's like we talk very pessimistically, but then you got to see the other side of the optimism of spiritual life. How amazing! How much there is to look forward to.
Yeah.
So much more than than just, okay, there's this pessimistic view of this material world, but there's so much more. The bliss of Krishna consciousness is unlimited. And to describe that also, it's unlimited. You can just go on describing the bliss of Krishna consciousness. And we're not even on the platform of purity yet. At least I'm not.
Even like coming to the point of trying to become pure. I mean, you can just see the effects of chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to the degree that, the proclivities that we used to have are not there anymore. The taste, of the senses, for the sense objects is not there anymore. We can especially think, that, especially for those of us who used to eat meat, the taste for eating meat also doesn't exist anymore. The same thing, I remember, the same thing which I used to like to eat a lot in university, I was going by that place after the summer break, after like being in the Association of Devotees, and the same smell which I used to find very appetizing, it actually churned my stomach. I was thinking, wow, the senses are definitely being purified. There's no doubt about it, actually. The proclivities go away, the sinful desires, the proclivities, to enjoy, matter goes away. And it just gets better over time, actually. And the more you invest, actually, this is an amazing thing that I came to, is that the more we invest in the Maha Mantra, the more of our attention that we invest in the Maha Mantra, the more we're absorbed in it. To that degree, Krishna reciprocates accordingly. That's the next verse in this chapter. Ye etam mam prapadyante tam staya vajami. Is it? Hold it. Mavartmanu vartante. Yeah. Manushya partha sarvasa. Sarva shaha. As we surrender into the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, Krishna rewards us accordingly, actually. It's really amazing. So.
That, like what you said, I've seen practically in my life.
Yeah, I mean, it's true.
It's like,
that's what all the books say. Wait a minute,
That's one thing. It's just like, that's been, like I was telling other guys, I'm like a super inconsistent person in everything that I do. But the only thing that's been consistent in my life is chanting 16 rounds.
In 16 rounds.
And 16 rounds, just that specifically those 16, even through those years when I was chanting those rounds every day, just being dedicated to that, independent of what's happening.
Keeps you from going insane, actually. It really does. And especially like when you have knowledge and you don't use it, that's when you go nuts, actually. And I was thinking also this, that one thing which has been like consistent in my, after my association, is going like really crazy every Mangalarti, Like every Mangalarti, like leaping and just having, it's been going on. I was thinking, this is amazing, We're dancing for Krishna every morning. And, Krishna, like, he likes that, He really likes that, to see that these people are fired up to see me. Let's go. It's different when you're enthusiastic to perform. Krishna loves that. Like, okay, let's get fired up. Let's go. And you can see, like, I don't know. Nowadays I'm chanting a few rounds before Mangalarti, and I'm chanting. I'm like, okay, bro, I'm definitely mooded out right now. But then like, after Mangalarti, it's like you don't feel those modes. And after going like it's just like letting loose. Whatever it may be. Anyway,
one small distinction I was thinking of is that. Pessimist generally means that they're, even when it's not reasonable, they're negative. Even when it's not logical. Optimist is like the opposite. It's more like that it's just realism. It's like in the middle. So it's like we're just realistic. We're just saying exactly how it is. We're not unnecessarily negative, just for the sake of being negative.
Usually people think spiritual people means they're going to tell you about the sunshine and the flower with a flowing beard, and they have like a fake plastic smile, and like, but real spiritual people will tell you, hey, hold up, this material world is miserable, and you don't need to be miserable. You can actually be happy by practicing Krishna consciousness. Sadhu was Tata Sadhu Sangha, association with devotees, important. Anything else? Yes, Mr. Ethan.
In one of the verses that you had up there, I think it was like the third one you pulled up, it was talking about distinguishing between matter and spirit. And the question I had, because it was on there, said you have to study these things. I was wondering, how do you study the nature of the soul?
How do we study the nature of the soul? One way of studying the nature of the soul is by saying what it's not. It's called 90-90-90-90, It's if you really want to know this, in the third canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Kapila Dev helps us understand Sankhya Yoga. Where he breaks down the elements. You see, if you really were to break down the elements, you will find out that, there's like 26 different elements, and like
what chapter?
I need to see exactly which the chapter number. I could show you later, but this is third canto is primarily about the Lord Kapila Dev's instructions to Devahuti. And there he breaks it down. He breaks down all these different elements, and like the working senses, the knowledge acquiring senses, and it becomes subtler, like the body's elements like earth, water, fire, air, ether, all these things. And then ego, and then the 25th element is the spirit soul. And the 26th element is Krishna. That's why the number 26 is actually very auspicious. Because, it's, anytime someone thinks of 26, they're actually thinking of Krishna. Because he's the 26th element in Sankhya philosophy. But you can understand this you can study the nature of the soul by realizing what it's not. You can understand that. Because like, for example, the spiritual body is eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. Whereas this material body, what is it? It's the exact opposite, right? It's miserable. Obviously, this body is miserable. It's a home of unlimited diseases, like Prahlad Maharaj says. Then it is definitely not eternal. Your body is definitely not eternal. And it's definitely not full of knowledge. It's full of ignorance. This body is dull. It's made of dull matter. So you understand it like that. And it's just a matter of analyzing. It's a matter of analyzing, It's a matter of analyzing. You can even understand this. You can pull this up, I think, at 2:9:34. Ritetam yad pratiyeta na pratiyeta chatmani tad vidyadatmano mayam yata bhasha yata tamaha. So this is a definition of illusion, actually. What is the definition of illusion? We see this over here. Whatever appears to be of any value, if it is without relationship to me, has no reality. Know it to be my illusory energy, that reflection which appears to be in the darkness. So if our senses are attracted to things, and that attraction towards a particular thing has nothing to do with Krishna, know that to be not your desires, but simply material desires of the mind and all this materially engrossed mind. You see? But if your senses are attracted to spiritual things like your beads, like your phone in order to hear the Bhagavatam class, and like and phone to like call up the devotees, then that's spiritual. But if it's attracted to the phone to listen to nonsense, mundane sound vibrations, then it's mundane. So it's a matter of analysis, and the analysis can go on and on and on, and you become more ecstatic analyzing these things actually. But the thing which is the most practical is to eat Krishna prasadam. That's the most practical thing actually. You can see the difference between prasadam and any other food in the world. It's a big difference actually. Big. If we had like the misfortune of ever eating boga after taking prasadam, then you'll say, I remember when I was brand new actually, I was in university and, they were serving out pizza. So I went up to them and I asked, does it have onion and garlic? And they said, no. Or does it have onions? So I asked something like that. And they said, yeah, no, that doesn't have any onions. I said, okay, awesome. So I took the pizza down and I was so modded out, because of course first it had garlic in it. I didn't realize that. And this was of course way before initiation. It was like maybe 2 weeks since I got into the association. I was like so modded out. I was really modded out until like my friend came and like they gave me, they literally fed me their prasadam that they had for them. Like, all right, bro, you're really modded out, man. And I took the prasadam and like, I came back to life. It's really such a stark difference actually. You can analyze and you can see. I mean, better not to experiment, but anyway, you're not initiated, so. Oh, yeah. It happens. It's such a stark difference. Yes, anything else? Yes, James, breaking the ice. Let's do it.
So, yeah, we were a young child, then an adolescent, then an adult. And then the thing that observes everything, is that the spirit soul?
Yeah, so that's exactly who we are. We are the observer of the changes. And there's two observers in the body. There's the soul, is who we are, and the super soul, who is Krishna, who's always, it's like the example is given, it's like two birds sitting on a tree. One bird is enjoying the fruits of a tree which has really bitter fruits. Have you ever heard of neem before? Neem? Okay, it's the fruit of a neem tree is really bitter, Huh? Lemon tree? Lemons? Anyway, whatever. Okay, it's a tree which gives really bitter fruits, So one bird is eating the fruits of this tree, which is really bitter, and the other bird is simply observing. As simply waiting for this bird who's eating the bitter fruit to turn towards him so they can fly away to a tree where there's nectarian fruits, like a nectarian juicy mango or something like that. So the spirit soul is the observer. You can observe your body changing. You can observe your mind changing. You can even see not only is your body changing, but your mind is also changing, right? Probably as a kid you may have been attracted to like G.I. Joe playing like toys, but then later on you became a G.I. Joe yourself, huh? For some time.
I liked Pokemon.
You like Pokemon, yeah, there you go, you see. You like, but do you still like Pokemon still? Not, at least not as much. Our conception of what adults like has changed since we've gone to Comic-Con, but not as much.
I know.
Yeah, okay, yeah. It doesn't, Why? Because your mind changes, as a kid, we may have like so many unrealistic like desires that I had really stupid desires, I'm going to like become an astronaut or something like that. You had that too?
Something like that.
I thought I'm going to be an astronaut, and like do this and do that. And after some time, why the heck would I want to be an astronaut? I don't want to be an astronaut. So like the mind changes because it's temporary. All these things are temporary. But when you have your goal fixed on an eternal object, when you have a goal fixed on a goal on thing which doesn't change, and that person is Krishna, then you become resolute in your determination.
And then, like, when we do foolish things, like get overly attached to sensual desires, that's illusory energy of Krishna?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bhagavad Gita 7:14, pull it up. Daivi hesha gunamai mama maya duratya mameva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. The divine energy of mind consisting of the three modes of nature is difficult to overcome. You feel like that sometimes? Although you don't want to do something, you're impelled to do it. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. But by thinking, I promise I could never imagine giving up intoxication, illicit sexual relationships, meat eating. I mean, if I had enough money to gamble, I would. Or if the money was mine to gamble, I would definitely gamble. But, I could never imagine. I was thinking, when they told me the 4 eggs and 16 ounces, I just said, forget it. I am not doing this, But, when you take shelter of Krishna, it just becomes like, okay, it's easy. What's the big deal,
And I don't want to be like disrespectful in this, but it's just like, why does this illusory energy, why is it here? Like, I mean...
Okay, great question. Why is there illusion in the first place? If God loves us, why did he make illusion? Right? So a similar question was asked to Srila Prabhupada, who is the author of these books, by whose mercy this entire temple and everything came about, who started Krishna consciousness, who brought Krishna consciousness to North America and the entire world eventually. A similar question was asked to him that if Krishna loves us so much, why did he make Maya? Why did he make illusion? And Prabhupada said, Krishna didn't make Maya, you made Maya. You made the illusion, Prabhupada said, and that makes a lot of sense. Why? Because as a living entity, one thing which we have for sure is free will. We have that. Why? Because without free will, there is no question of love. Can you force someone to love you? No, because that's just not how love works. You cannot force someone to love you. So similarly, Krishna gives us free will. Whether we want to serve Krishna or whether we want to disturb Krishna. So, if we decide that we don't want to serve Krishna anymore, or if we want the kingdom of God without God, then the material world is a playground for us to act out our childish desires. And Krishna facilitates that also. Krishna is simply facilitating. Out of love for us, okay, you can't do it here. You know what? I'll make a whole material world for you to go and try your level best to enjoy as much as you can. And then when you're done, come back, let me know. Now, does that make sense, James?
Yes, it does.
Thank you for the good questions. It's very enlivening to see a sincere inquirer like you. Anything else? Yes, Avadut.
Prabhu, I just heard my Guru Maharaj tell a story recently about the devotees in the early days, like in the 70s, they loved to dance. And there was one brahmachari in the morning where as soon as the samsara prayers started, he would just go crazy. And the devotees would ask him, and he would say, "Never miss a chance to dance."
That's right. Hey, that's a good one. Never miss a chance to dance. I'll use that one.
That can be your new book title.
Wow, okay. You know what? I'll think about it. Anything else? From the women's side? Mataji? Yes, Mother, please. No, we will give it to you, don't worry. Kenasa, right?
Yes, you got it.
Got it. Hey,
Thank you.
we distribute books in KSU, so we know.
Where to start? I've always considered myself a spiritual person. I've been on my own since 14, but I went down the psychedelics route at that
Yeah.
point. So over a decade of psychedelic use, and things start to get a little fuzzy on what you believe in.
Yeah, I'd imagine. Yeah.
So, I actually quit drinking alcohol on my own a little over 6 months ago.
Good.
I stopped smoking cigarettes shortly after.
That's amazing.
I'm in a relationship, but we're both celibate.
Wow.
So I've been doing all these things on my own. But I
Why
felt
don't you
like
bring him
something
here
was.
too?
He's coming next. He's holding it down at the house for me until I get home, and then we're gonna switch.
That's amazing.
But yeah. So
You had to try it out first to make sure that it's okay. We ain't that
exactly.
crazy. Okay.
Well, someone's got to watch the dogs.
That's there. Yes. Sir.
But I guess I've never believed in a creator. I've always, been one of those. We're all a little sliver of source, but how did that become? I never knew. And so that's where I'm at in my journey is seeking that, and that's what brought me here. So I guess my question is, and I mean it in the best way.
Yeah.
Why Krishna?
Yeah. Why not? Krishna? Okay. Why not? Okay. I mean, it's simple. You see that anything, logically you can understand this, Anything that you see around you is made by someone. The iPhone didn't fall out of the sky. Or like this building that we're sitting, it's not like one day the stone and the glass and the cement and the bricks, they all decided to come together and make this place. It's not like that, There was definitely some thought, some person who had built this whole thing. They drew up plans for it. They had to raise money for it. They got the stone from Stone Mountain, fun fact. They got all this place and they built this huge place, So we can see that just logically, everything that we see around us is made by someone, And if that's true on the microcosmic level, it's obviously also true on the macrocosmic level. We never see something impersonal making something personal, We see something personal making something impersonal, Like this phone is impersonal, but it's made by a person. Or it's made by a machine who was made by a person. Bottom line, we cannot avoid individuality, So when we understand this, that okay, all right, that makes logical sense, then we can ask, okay, all right, so then who is this guy? Who is this guy? For example, did anyone get a new phone recently? Or like a new thing? You got a new phone recently. So even I got a new phone recently, right? But it was your old phone, so it's your Mahaprasad. But, when you got your phone, what came along with the phone? The case. What was inside the case? What else? Anything else? That's right, the instruction manual, right? So, yeah, they have it. You just don't care, but it's there, because you're taught how to use a phone, But when you get a new thing, you get an instruction manual, And one way of knowing if an instruction manual is bona fide or not, you know what bona fide means, right? Or it's like whether it's legit, if it's legit or authorized, If you know it's authorized or not, it's by seeing if. Okay, this guy says, okay, open this and press the power button, and then you're going to see an Apple thing on your phone, and then when it starts up, you do this and you do that, and you follow the instructions, and you see that the phone works. Therefore, you know that there's an authorized manual. So similarly, when Krishna makes a material world, or when the living entities come into this material world, Krishna gives an instruction manual for the living entities as to how to become happy in this material world and how to get out of this material world also. Was that be thou happy by the sacrifice? But it was 4:8, I think. Pull that up. Is it 4:8? No, it's not 4:8. Where is this? Be thou happy by this sacrifice, for all things desirable will be bestowed upon you. Where is this? It's in the 4th chapter, right? Oh, it's in the 3rd chapter. 3 what? Yeah, Bhagavad Gita chapter 3, text number 10. You can see this over here. Yeah, okay. Saha yajnav prajah srishtva purovacha prajapatihi anena pravavish yadvam esha ishtva kamaduk. In the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods, along with sacrifices for Vishnu, and blessed him by saying, "Be thou happy by this yajna," sacrifice, because its performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation. So we can see that those who follow the instructions as given by Krishna, who follow this path of sacrifice, performing a sacrifice, and in this age, it's the Sankirtan Yajna, the sacrifice of chanting the holy names of Krishna and by distributing knowledge about Krishna. Naturally, they are happy in this life and they'll also attain liberation in the next. Okay, well, I don't know about liberation, but are they happy? You can see. You can actually see when I was really thinking this is too good to be true. When I read these books, I'm like, no way. I was like, this is bogus, bro. No way, bro. But then, I actually saw okay, these people are actually happy. And honestly, the prasadam, the food that you got yesterday is so nicely cooked, whereas the one that I got was 2-day-old porridge without salt. Okay, I don't know why they didn't put salt, but they didn't. And I took it, I was thinking there's no salt in it and it's old, but it's so amazing. It's and I wasn't high for sure, And I was thinking wow, this is amazing. This is definitely of a different nature. And I kept coming back with this and they were actually shocked. Why is this guy coming back for this, But then it's prasadam. It's transcendental. You can see the effects that it has upon you. You can see for yourself, That's why Bhagavad Gita 9:2. Rajavedya Rajaguhyam Pavitramedam Uttamam Pratyaksha Dharmyam Susukam Kartamavyam. You can see this. This knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct possession of the self by realization, is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting and it is joyfully performed. You, with your logical, analytical brain, try to analyze and see if this is true for yourself. And you will understand. Prabhupada writes in the Bhagavad Gita, you will find answers to questions that you always had, and also answers to questions that you never had. There's knowledge in this Bhagavad Gita which you knew before, and there's so much more knowledge that is not there anywhere else. And you try and you see for yourself. We do not recommend blind faith, but we do not recommend blind doubt either. Try it out yourself and you'll see. You'll see. Naturally, you'll be happier. That's just a natural byproduct of it. Is that okay, Mother?
That sounds good.
Okay, awesome. See, it's a good sport. Okay. Should I end here? It's 8:59? Okay, all right. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha. Kripa sandabhya visharpadidhanam.